Let's talk about Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. This team is finally headed into a true rebuild. They will have a brand new starting quarterback in Will Levis for the foreseeable future and a brand new coaching staff as well. Mike Vrabel had a very interesting tenure with the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't a complete failure, in my opinion. They made the NFL playoffs. They ran that division for quite some time. But this season just didn't seem right. The offensive line was bad. You had bad offensive coaching yet again. And this is terrible because this was a brand new offensive coordinator after you just fired Todd Downing, who was a horrible offensive coordinator at the time with the team. But you bring in Will Levis in the middle of this season after Ryan Tannehill had 4 passing touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Ryan Tannehill was completely terrible this season, and Malik Willis is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. Will Levis came out his first game against the Atlanta Falcons. He had 4 passing touchdowns, and this is with a hurt wide receiving core, may I add you. I like what they have done already. And we haven't even got to the full offseason just yet because you do have free agency. You still have Derrick Henry on the roster right now, but it's a good chance that he will leave this team because he wants to go to a contender. He basically told everyone in the stands in the last Tennessee Titans game that, hey, this may be my last time with the Tennessee Titans. Thank you for everything. So they're going to have to go out there and find another running back that's a bruiser as well to put with Tajay Spears because Tajay Spears is a very good running back as well. But bringing in a guy like Brian Callahan will be a very good thing with this team. Now, it's a major boom or bust signing with this team because he's a very young head coach in the NFL. He's 39 years old. He did a lot of good things with Joe Burrow, a lot of good things with Jake Browning as well. Part of the reason why he got this job was how good Jake Browning looked at certain points in times on the back half of the season. And Will Levis is a freakish quarterback. He's big, he's athletic, and he has a rocket arm. He does miss certain throws because of that arm power, but when he is on, he is on. I'm not saying that he could be a top 5 to top 10 quarterback someday, but he could definitely be a long-term starter for the Tennessee Titans. He put up good numbers, 8 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Yes, 4 of those touchdowns came in one game, but this was behind a terrible offensive line. The only consistent offensive lineman on this team would be Aaron Brewer at the center position and Dalton at the right tackle position. Besides that, you have a lot of question marks, and bringing in Brian Callahan should be able to go out there and fix those type of things because he just went out and he hired his dad to be the offensive line coach with this team. He did a tremendous job with the Cleveland Browns offensive line, and he's done tremendous work in the past with offensive linemen. You have guys like Jalen Duncan. There's something there, but Jalen Duncan is very inexperienced at the tackle spot. He's a project type of player at the tackle position, and his snaps that he played, he didn't look good. You have a guy like Andre Dillard. He shouldn't be on this team next season. He was completely terrible this season. Peter Skoronski is a rookie. You hope that he will get better over time, and I think that he can get better over time as well. And then you also have other guys in this team in this offensive line that are just not consistent enough. So do not be shocked this team goes out and they double dip. They took a tackle in the first round this season. They put Peter Skoronski at the guard position. They may take another offensive lineman this season to go out there and help out Will Levis and help out that run game because Tajay Spears was a guy that was getting majority of the carries early on. Then Derrick Henry started getting to his former self again. The problem with Derrick Henry was this. He was a running back that needs an open hole here and there, so when he hits it, he can gain speed. Tajay Spears has enough speed to go to the sideline and he can just catch the edge and just go upfield. And Derrick Henry is still one of the best running backs in the NFL today. We're just talking about 2 different playing styles. The offensive line did Derrick Henry no favors this season. Derrick Henry is a guy that needs the holes to open up when he gets down the field. That's when you can see Derrick Henry be special. But a guy like Tajay Spears, you don't have to have the hole wide open. He can bounce around, do some things in the backfield because of his speed and his elusiveness. So going long term with Tajay Spears is not a bad thing to do, but you definitely need to go out there and get a power back with this team if Derrick Henry does leave this organization. Going out there and getting a guy that can get you 2 to 3 yards at a time and they can just move the pile would be great with this team. And you look at the wide receivers as well. It's a huge question mark here. DeAndre Hopkins was the best wide receiver this season. If we was to say this 4 to 5 years ago with this team, he'll be in a great situation. DeAndre Hopkins is 31 years old and he wants to be on a contending team. That's why he signed with the Tennessee Titans. Because if you guys remember, just a season ago, before all the injuries piled up on the back half of the season, they were controlling this division, and then they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the last game of the season. That's when Josh Dobbs was trying to do everything that he could in the last game to go out there and defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars. But you look at DeAndre Hopkins, 75 receptions, 1,057 receiving yards, and 7 receiving touchdowns, and he averaged 14 yards a catch. He can still ball out for you, but this is an older player right now that wants to play with a contender and possibly go out there and get more money as well. You could keep him around, but at the same time, you want to see guys like Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips step up with this team. The thing is with Treylon Burks, he is due for a breakout season. His rookie season, he dealt with a lot of injuries. He had the turf toe injury. He showed some good, but this is a guy that they banked a lot on. When they traded A.J. Brown, that was a major mistake with this team. They haven't been in the same situation since then, but they went on. They traded A.J. Brown. They selected this kid right here in the first round, and last season, he looked solid. This season, he didn't look as good, and he did miss a good portion of the season because he suffered an ugly concussion against the Steelers on a Thursday night football game, so he missed a lot of time. And Ryan Tannehill was so bad, a lot of these wide receivers were getting wide open, and Ryan Tannehill either missed them or he just didn't see them due to offensive line protection. The thing is with Will Levis, he's a bigger quarterback. You're not going to be able to go out there and take him down with the first defender majority of the time. So he's going to be able to go out there and swim around and move around contact and throw the ball over across the middle of the field to guys like DeAndre Hopkins and to Treylon Burks. But hopefully Treylon Burks can be a good football player with this team. He's very good in Arkansas when he was in college, and it's the reason why he's on this roster. I just need to see more out of him, and he needs more snaps. You have a guy like Chris Moore that's on this team as well, 424 receiving yards. He's not a long-term solution at the wide receiving spot. Kyle Phillips is a decent return man at times, only 181 receiving yards on the season. And Nick Westbrook-Akine, there's something there. I think he could be a solid number 2 to number 3 wide receiver with this team. 370 receiving yards on the season, 3 receiving touchdowns, and he finished the season being on the injury reserve list dealing with a hand injury. So they need to go out there and get some speedster at the wide receiving position, and they just need some consistency there. Besides DeAndre Hopkins and your tight end, you do not have solid wide receiving weapons for Will Levis. And that's one thing that they're going to have to fix on this offensive end. Mike Vrabel was a guy that went out there and played hard-nosed defense, run the ball. But the Tennessee Titans organization want to go into a different direction. They saw Ryan Tannehill over the last couple of years. Even though they went to the playoffs, it wasn't pretty. They need to bring in some new guys with a new philosophy and hopefully help out this offense. But this is going to be a long rebuild for this team because the offensive line's in the state that it's in. And right now, your wide receivers are a huge question mark. Like I mentioned before, DeAndre Hopkins, very good veteran. But behind him, you just have a lot of pieces, including Treylon Burks. I can't come on here and say this kid's going to be a superstar. We've seen 2 years right now. Hopefully in his 3rd year, he can break out with this team. And if he doesn't, if he ends up as a bust, that's definitely going to hurt this team in the long run. But I'm really rooting for the Tennessee Titans to figure out this offense right now because they can be a very fun football team with that strong going quarterback that you have in Will Levis. So this offseason is going to be very important for this team long term. And you look at their defense as well. Their defense is very solid. Now, they were 27th in total offense. You look at their passing offense, they were 28th. You look at their defense, it was solid at times. At a certain point in time this season, their secondary was just getting completely cooked. And that's one thing that I was looking at. Sean Murphy-Bunting was not a good corner this season with this team. He was very inconsistent. But you have a guy like Roger McCreary who was very good at the cornerback position, especially in the nickel spot. They need to go out there and get a true number 1 corner with this team. They went out and they did trade Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. You got Terrell Edmonds back in return, but you have a money hooker who was not able to finish out the season healthy. But when he is healthy, he's a solid safety to have. And the pass rush was back. Harold Landry missed all last season dealing with a torn ACL that he suffered in training camp. This season had 10.5 sacks. He's a star pass rusher. Jeffrey Simmons is a very good defensive lineman as well. 5.5 sacks on the season, 1 forced fumble. He missed some time due to a knee injury on the back half of the season. So they have guys here that can go out there and get to the quarterback. But when you look at the complete secondary, it's not pretty. And I also want to give Danico Autry his credit as well. 11.5 sacks on the season, 2 forced fumbles, led the team in sacks. He was very good. Kayvon Wallace is a solid safety as well. It's just the cornerbacks with this team. And Caleb Farley has been a bust with this team. I understand the back injury that he suffered a couple of years ago. He hasn't been good with this team and the snaps that he did play with this team. So they need to go out there and fix the secondary. That's why I say this is a team that's entering a new era right now. Just a couple of years ago, you were making a playoff run with Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry. Then you also had the trade with Julio Jones, but something went wrong with this team between those years, and nothing has been right since they traded A.J. Brown. They have not been the same explosive offensive team. They need to go out there and figure things out. Give Brian Callahan a nice shot with this team, with this quarterback. You can be in a great situation. But it is a tough division because you look at the Indianapolis Colts. They are a tough football team. The Houston Texans, they seem like they run this division right now, and you still have Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville Jaguars lurking in the background. So Tennessee Titans need to make some major moves this offseason. I'm not saying go out there and just get a free agent just because, but find some help on the offensive line and find some true wide receiving options for this young quarterback. Even though Will Levis did show a lot of good on the back half of the season, you don't want him to go out here with the same offense next season minus Derrick Henry. Go out there and get him some good offensive line protection up front and give this kid a true shot, because there is a chance that Will Levis will not be a franchise quarterback with this team, but this is a guy that showed a lot of good in his rookie season. The fact that he had even 8 passing touchdowns to begin with is very impressive. And I always get asked this at certain points in times when I talk about the Tennessee Titans. How do I feel about Malik Willis? I think Malik Willis is just a backup quarterback at best right now in the NFL. I think he should have stayed one more year in college. If he couldn't have stayed another year in college, well, man, I wish another team would have drafted him because he doesn't fit the Tennessee Titans. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to go out there and get a big arm quarterback that had some mobility. They have that now in Will Levis. He's a bigger quarterback. He's more accurate, and he gets the football out quick. The thing is with Malik Willis, he won't throw the football. He's trigger shy. And when no one else is open, he likes to run. That doesn't work in the NFL. So I can see them moving off Malik Willis as well. You could possibly go out there and get a 5th or 6th round pick for the kid and just cut your losses there. But I like where the Tennessee Titans are going. I don't think they're going to be able to go out there and make the NFL playoffs next season. But hey, what do I know? A lot of people say the same thing about C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. So anything is possible if you have the right coach and the right quarterback. I think that they do have the right coach with the offensive formations that he's going to bring over here. They just need to figure out the entire offense. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Tennessee Titans long term? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, we want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.